Hi, and welcome to All Things Cozy with Matt.
And Jillian.
We are a bi-weekly podcast about everything that is warm, soft, and comforting. This year's holiday episode is sure to spark some animated discussion. We're chatting about Christmas cartoons we hope will make our hearts grow 3 sizes, or at least not feeling like Charlie Brown directing a Christmas play. Joining us on the Polar Express are conductors of Christmas cinema criticism. They may or may not also be played by Tom Hanks. They look like Tom Hanks. Maybe they're separate characters. We're not quite sure yet, but they're definitely the hosts of Linoleum Knife, a podcast of the cinema, Dave White and Alonzo Duralde. Welcome back. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
So good to have you.
And to y'all, this is how I know, as Jillian said before we got on the mic, this is how I know Christmas is happening.
When we're on your show.
Being here with y'all each year, whether it's in person or over Zoom, doesn't matter. This is my favorite podcast to be a guest on because I feel like we've now established this tradition, and that makes me very happy.
It makes us very happy too. We feel very blessed.
Step in my
What
step.
are holidays if not a time for tradition?
Perfectly said, Alonzo.
Yes.
And this is why we invite you both back year after year, because of your beautiful compliments and your pithy one-liners. Before we talk about some tinsel tunes, let's check in with what's making us feel cozy this Christmas. Jillian, I'm going to pass it over to you first. What's making you feel cozy?
My dad is in town and he leaves on Friday. So he got here on Wednesday. So it's about a week. And I've been trying to find things to do with him. He typically just likes to sit and not leave the house. And I'll be trying to work and he'll pop in with one-liners like, the best thing about a coupon is the thrill of a coupon. He'll just pop in and say things like, distract me. And I was like, this is time to get you out of the house.
He's not wrong.
So I took him on a little field trip to Descanso Gardens Enchanted Forest of Light, and it is lovely. I've been trying to get there for years and years. That this year I'm going to do it. I told my partner, do you want to go to a light show? She said no.
Grinch.
My dad, I said, do you want to go to the light show? He goes, oh, I'm not really so sure. And so I made that executive decision. Everyone's going to the light show. I bought 3 tickets.
We're all going to Laser Floyd.
Yeah, because my dad said when we got there, he's like, oh, I thought we are just going to stand outside and watch one of those light shows, the standard light shows. But it was really lovely. They had different sections and each one was unique to that part of the botanical garden. And I recommend getting there early. We went in the 5:30 group. And so that's when all the families go. So they're all busy getting their strollers together, stopping for pictures and whatnot. So we kind of led the pack. So it's like we're going on our own tour of the gardens. So
Right.
I highly recommend going early. It was so lovely. My dad loved it. Only complaint, there could have been more bathrooms along the way for older folks.
That's always the
Again, not wrong.
Not wrong. And there's so many great stands along the way too. Food, some wine you could buy for $15, as many Enchanted Forests have those overpriced wines. So yes, it was lovely. I highly recommend.
I love Descanso Gardens. I always go to their pumpkin event where they have all the carved pumpkins along the path, and I need to check out their Enchanted Forest of Light. It sounds amazing.
Yeah, I read a review and someone for really nasty reviews like, do better, Descanso. And I was like, I don't know how one could do this better. It wasn't very holiday themed, but it was lovely.
Save me for the rest of my life from the people whose first utterance is do better.
Exactly. Well said.
In a cozy way. I want to choke the life out of that.
I'm with you.
We need actionable criticism, please, if you're going to criticize at all. Dave or Alonzo, would you like to continue the Christmas coziness? What's making you feel cozy this holiday season?
Sure. Well, so I have been spending this holiday season out on the streets drumming up business for my latest book, which is the revised and updated edition of Have Yourself a Movie Little Christmas, which I have come out with a second edition of for the first time since its original release in 2010. And one of my stops was at the Gardena Cinema which I had been hearing about quite a bit. Filmmaker Sean Baker is a big fan and has been talking it up, but I had never actually gone down there. I don't get to the South Bay, generally speaking. It's really beautiful. It's a theater that was built in the 40s, I think, and it had been at one point one of 3 single screen theaters in the area. Now it is one of the last single screen theaters in Southern California and one of the last family run theaters in California. The Kims have owned it since I think something like 40 years now. And Judy Kim, it's practically a one-woman show in terms of doing promotions, popping the popcorn, introducing the screenings, all kinds of things. And they do a really cool, eclectic calendar of films. I'm very excited that LA Film Critics has actually just honored Judy with a special citation for her work with the Gardena. And yeah, if you've never been there, I highly recommend it. And they have their own parking lot. So if that was what was keeping you from going, parking is included, ample day or night next to the building. And it's a really cool, beautiful theater, really big, like seats 700 theater. So very old school.
I love a single screen theater. Like there's so much care that can go into that one screen.
Mm.
Obviously, it sounds like a large house too. So there's probably a lot of maintenance involved there too. But the fact that it's still in the family and they get to really program it and make sure it's really special and unique is awesome.
When I was there, they were screening It's a Wonderful Life in 16 millimeter, which was very exciting.
Very cozy. And speaking of cozy, your book, we made our Christmas list this year of gifts.
Oh,
Recommendations.
hey, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Let's go and get that.
You're on the official gift guide for all things cozy
Yes.
this year,
Yeah.
as you usually are, Alonzo, to be
Yes.
quite honest.
Yeah, yours always a spot.
And I'm always grateful.
We'll never not shill your book. And honestly, even if you have Alonzo's first edition of Have Yourself a Movie Little Christmas, get this one too, because it has a whole bunch of new films in
It's
it.
a whole new book, y'all.
It's a whole new book, and it
it's a
has
whole
like a
new
much
book.
sexier cover too.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. Much happier about the cover. But yeah, I've added something like more than 100 new titles.
Yeah.
Not just films that came out since 2010, but also classics that I just had not been aware of before and I'm catching up on. So yeah, it will definitely it will not feel like you're just getting the same book again with a snazzy new cover. There's a lot of new stuff in there.
100%. Dave, what's making you feel cozy this Christmas?
I'm going to keep it Los Angeles based again, but Max and Helen's just opened, and it is a diner in the Larchmont area. And I know that if you know Los Angeles, you know that automatically means it's going to cost more money than if you were eating somewhere else.
It used to not be the
Yes.
case, but it's gotten worse and worse over time.
Yes. Phil Rosenthal, who created Everybody Loves Raymond and who has got that Netflix show, Somebody Feed Phil. This is his new restaurant. And he's opened it with his daughter. And the executive chef is Nancy Silverton. And Nancy Silverton is not a name you would normally associate with diner food, but she has turned this menu into a Nancy Silverton based diner, meaning that the ingredients are great and the food is carefully prepared. And while you're getting diner things, breakfasts, sandwiches, burgers, patty melts, stuff like that, you're getting the good stuff. You're getting the good version of that. So here's the deal. You walk in there, it's no reservations. It's first come, first serve. They just opened, so the line is like, you might wait like 6 months
Before going.
But you go in there and yes, you're going to spend about as much as you would if you went to Cheesecake Factory, right? Because don't let anybody fool you into thinking that a place like Chili's or Cheesecake Factory is inexpensive. It costs money to eat in those places. And so you're going to spend about as much as if you went to Cheesecake Factory, but you're going to be getting really beautiful food.
And in an atmosphere that is exceedingly cozy.
That's
because
where I'm headed.
it's really designed with a vintage diner in mind.
The design, the interior of this place is immediately comforting. Everything looks vintage, but it's new. And it doesn't look like fake new. It looks lived in somehow, yet also perfectly maintained, as though it had always been there. There's like wood on the ceiling above the counter area. And there is a counter area where you can sit just like an old school diner. Like the material on the booths, the upholstery on the booths, and the wallpaper in this place, every detail is meant to make you feel like you've entered into a really wonderfully cozy neighborhood spot.
Well, you had me a breakfast sandwich. I don't think LA has enough
Yeah.
good breakfast sandwiches. It sounds amazing.
And the chocolate cake is
There's wonderful desserts. They make malts. It's We were very fortunate in that we got to eat there for free.
Ooh.
And here I am telling you that the menu is a little more expensive than you might be thinking when you're going into a diner. But I've been to Norm's many, 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 many times. Norm's is a big, well-known diner in Los Angeles. And you're going to just spend a little bit more than if you went to Norm's, honestly. And
And it will be worth it.
and you're going to be happy. Yeah.
I'm jealous of Matt because he lives in the neighborhood.
Yeah, I've really been excited to check this out, and now I'm dying to go.
All right. So here's the trick. I already know the trick. They open at 8 a.m. A friend of mine just went, and he arrived at 7:30, and there was no one in line. And by 7:45, there was a 25-person line, but he was first.
Oh.
He was first in line. So get there a little early. You'll be in when they open.
The early bird gets the waffle.
Gets the waffle. That's correct.
That's a great idea. I'm going to have
Yeah.
to edit that out of the show so that I can have a
That's
chance to
right.
put that into
That's
action
right.
before.
It's like the secret parking at Century City Mall or the Grove. I know the
Just
answer
kidding.
to
I
that
will. I would
question.
never gatekeep access to Max and Helen's from
Some
our
things
listeners.
need to be gate kept. Truly, some things do.
It's Max and Helen's, right?
Max and Helen's, yeah.
That's right. Okay. For a second, I was like Phil and Helen's. That would make more sense because Phil Rose.
Named
whatever.
after
his,
his,
parents.
His
His
parents.
Oh,
parents.
that's
that
so
makes
sweet.
sense.
That's even cozier.
Very cute. Well, what's making me feel cozy is really cozy in an essential form, which is pillow form. And I'm in my era of my Christmas decorating is pillow. You know, I've gone through different phases of this year we're focusing on the bathroom. Now we have a shower curtain that's Christmas. Made it to the throw pillow stage, which I feel like is almost a final boss for Christmas decoration. Like, you know what I mean? It's not your first priority.
It's a level of gay that is one that you have to climb a ladder to
Yeah.
and to get to. When you have seasonal throw pillows on your couch,
You mean business.
You're getting there. Yeah, you're climbing the ladder of success.
I'm still waiting for my certificate in the mail. I've graduated to a whole new level. But yeah, so the ones that I'm going to mention, okay, they're from big box stores. I may be gay, but I'm also not rich. So I have to work within a budget.
Yeah.
And the ones that I have really enjoyed, and I just noticed in general, a lot of places have wonderful Christmas pillows this year, and many of them in a gingerbread theme, which I never really thought of myself as a gingerbread Christmas decoration guy, but somehow that's what I'm morphing into. You know, life surprises you in so many ways. And what is happening now is that Target has a gingerbread man that I thought was really cute. He honestly looks a little wonky. In fact, about half the people reviewing the gingerbread man pillow on target.com thought it was a dog toy, which should give you some sense of a little how raggedy it seems, but my heart is always drawn to that kind of weird looking stuff. Its head is always stuck to one side, like it has a crick in the neck. And anyway, so I grabbed that one, very much enjoying that. It's actually sold out online, but when I've gone in person to Target, there's plenty lying around, so just go in person. And then the other one's from Costco, which I have really become obsessed with, just like everyone else. And they have a corduroy Christmas tree pillow with C7 bulbs on it that are embroidered in. And it's very, very cute. And the one thing about these sorts of pillows is anyone who has them knows, in my head, especially the corduroy one, I was like, this seems sturdy. This seems really plush. I'll still use it like a pillow, right? But you never do. You take it off. It becomes this thing that you have to move around the house
Yep.
all the time. It's just moving
Yep.
all the way around. It's just traveling until it finally, when I'm tidying up, it returns to the couch. But it's all worth it because my living room looks extra Christmassy and cozy because of my Christmas throw pillows.
Nice.
You're hot on the trends.
I approve of this.
Matt got me a Christmas pillow too, so you're also gifting. Got me a cat themed one because it looks just like my cat.
It really does look identical. It's a calico and it
Yeah.
has the same colors in the right places. It's a little eerie.
Mhm.
You should be checking your security cameras, Julian, because I think someone from Target is copying your cats.
They're moonlighting.
Yes.
Well, let's dive into some Christmas entertainment. When it comes to holiday storytelling, animation has been sprinkling a little extra magic on Christmas almost since the beginning of cinema itself. One of the earliest recorded animated Christmas films was from the 1910s. And I'm going to attempt this name and I'm going to butcher it. And I'm sorry, Vladislav Starovich's The Insect's Christmas, which is a Russian stop motion animation film. And it depicts a tiny Father Christmas who comes down off of a Christmas tree and seems to really annoy a dolly who's trying to sleep at the bottom of that tree. And this little Father Christmas is ditching the humbug in favor of some humming bugs as El Pequeño Papa Noel crafts a little Christmas celebration for grasshoppers, dung beetles, and don't worry, Jillian, a frog. Of course, animated Christmas films truly painted themselves into the picture of festive filmmaking with the advent of television. Cartoons have become full-fledged holiday icons thanks to the boob tube, and specifically Mr. Magoo, who stumbled into the scene with Mr. Magoo's Christmas Carol in December of 1962. Soon after, a bevy of cozy seasonal specials joined the chorus. Oh, Magoo, you've done it again. For many, one truly can't get into the Christmas spirit without annual viewings of The Mellow and Melancholy, A Charlie Brown Christmas, A Who's Feast for the Eyes, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, and the entire Rankin Bass universe of stop-motion legends. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Frosty the Snowman, Santa Claus is Coming to Town. There's too many to mention. The list is bigger than An Abominable Snowman. These classics have practically jingled their way into our DNA at this point, airing every year like clockwork and reminding us that sometimes all we need to feel like children on Christmas morning, again, is a tiny felt puppet with a glowing nose. But today, we're wandering a bit farther from Whoville and the melee of the heat and snow misers. Instead of re-sledding the well-known snowbanks, we've gathered a gallery of some animated Christmas gems that don't always make the annual rotation. We've each brought a couple of picks to unwrap, and I'm excited to dive in and get drawn into the discussion with a newer film that Jillian has put in our winter watch list.
Thanks for tossing me that wreath, Matt. Let's rewind back to December 24th, 2023, when the BBC gifted viewers A Very Kitty Christmas with Mog's Christmas, an animated short inspired by the beloved 1976 story from Judith Kerr's Mog the Cat series. Beautifully narrated by Adwa Ando and directed by Robin Shaw, the story follows Mog's muddled, often overwhelming experience of the holiday. Her family, Mr. and Mrs. Thomas, voiced by Benedict Cumberbatch and Claire Foy, along with their children, Debbie and Nikki, remain largely oblivious to and even dismissive of Mog's bah humbug antics. Matters only worsen with the arrival of two visiting aunts and an uncle, whose presence brings even more festive chaos to Mog's tinsel-covered torment. Mog only has to endure the 24 hours from Christmas Eve to Christmas Day, yet the celebrations soon drive her to seek refuge on the roof. But will she finally warm to the season, or will Santa risk a targeted swat upon landing? With or without Mog's cooperation, viewers are treated to cozy scenes of London at Christmas time, rendered in hand-drawn 2D animation reminiscent of 1982's The Snowman. So I picked this because I'm now on an unhinged journey of having 4 cats. And so I wanted to, yes, I'm really in the thick of it. They're kittens, and we have a real tree. And we didn't think about that. So it is truly chaos.
Wow.
4 cats and a dog. All the poop and craziness aside, now we have this Christmas tree. But I wanted to get into the minds of my cats, what it's like to be a pet at Christmas time and see all of the chaos and weirdness, at least from their perspective. And I thought this was really cute. I apologize that it costs money to view, so you have to pay to stream it.
Worth it.
Yeah, it's super
Worth it.
adorable and
It
hilarious.
is so good. It's worth it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just also just so funny. The scenes between the aunts and the uncle are my favorite part. And just Mog's perspective of what everything is. So when they buy the Christmas tree, she only sees the dad trying to lumber and get it inside, and she thinks that it's this robot Christmas tree or this monster trying to get her. So it's a lot of laughs on top of being super cozy because they do a great job with the London at Christmas time scenes.
Yeah, I love that Mog really keeps to being a cat. Like, it doesn't make Mog into too anthropomorphized a character. We get lots of genuine cat behavior, and I love that about this film.
Yes, and I think it's also very true to life that the only place that Mog can find peace is on top of the roof, because Christmas time can get very overwhelming.
The rest of the house, forget it.
Yes. So I will try and have a little bit more kindness when dealing with my cats and all of the stuff. But we did buy them houses from Chewy, so those cardboard boxes that you build. They have a 2-story chalet, so they're well taken care of. Yes.
Nice. This special was brand new to me. I didn't know what it was at all. And I had never heard of these children's books either.
Yeah,
There's a whole series of children's books about this cat, including the last book in the series where she dies. Did you know that happens?
No.
in the final book of the series. Yeah.
Oh, the British.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
will not flinch. What I loved about this, and apparently the books are the same way, is, as you were saying, she remains a cat. She's not smarter than anybody else. In fact, they tell you at the very beginning that she's a lovely little cat, but she's not very clever. And so she doesn't understand what's happening quite often. So when she's confronted by the chaos and the noise of Christmas, she's curious but irritated. And she doesn't like the way people are treating her as an obstruction to their Christmas plans. Like she gets in the way, she wants to be involved in the activity. And it was like, no, get out of here. All the people whose job it is to take care of you, the cat, are telling you, beat it. You're getting in the way. You're making a mess. And in that way, the second act of it becomes very moving because she self-exiles. She leaves her little cat door and she goes outside. She climbs the fence and then she climbs up on the roof of the house and stays there, but she can't get down. She wants to get down. And then it begins to snow. And so she sort of defiantly stays up there the whole time, all night long. And finally, the people in the house, they learn the error of their ways. They're like, we want Mog to come back inside, but they can't get her. I won't spoil how it ends, but it's so sweet and so moving and beautifully animated.
Yes.
The animation style is so simple and gorgeous and not at all overdone or fake looking or digital. It has the feeling of old school animation.
It harkens back to an era where there was more care taken with the sort of special.
Yeah, there's so much movement in it, like you're moving with the story.
Yeah.
And I love that there's a lot of white in the frame, which makes it feel like you're really reading a picture book, which made me
Yes.
feel really comforted and like a kid again.
Yeah. Thank you for introducing this to us because I would have missed it entirely. It's gorgeous. Like if anyone's listening and you've got kids, the cat doesn't die at the end of this. I said there would be no spoilers. The cat does not die at the end of this. The cat dies in the books at the end of the series of books. But everything works out very nicely here. Yeah. So
And,
show it to
and
your
Dave
children.
White, generally speaking, is a big fan of cat-centered media. So,
Cats. Yeah. I'm
Oh
allergic.
yes, you went on a podcast recently to
I was
review
on-
the Hallmark. Yeah.
Check the
Yeah.
Hallmark to talk about Christmas at the Catnip Cafe.
Yes, I'm so excited to hear your review. I just saw it pop by on my feed.
It's a bad movie, but it's got some very beautiful cats.
That's just the catnip talking.
Well, you're in luck because a sequel to Mog's Christmas is going to premiere in 2026. It's called Mog's Bad Thing. So
Oh.
put that on your list.
I will watch it. Yeah.
Well, Jillian, that's not all you have for us, though, this holiday season. I think there's one more animated short in our stocking.
Yes, Ziggy's Gift. And Ziggy's Gift opens with Harry Nielsen's cozy tune, Give, Love, and Joy, a perfect introduction to the beloved comic strip's tender take on Christmas. The 1982 special, directed by Richard Williams, follows Ziggy as he applies for a Sidewalk Santa charity job, only to unwittingly join a scheme that's actually stealing from the needy. Blissfully unaware, Ziggy and his dog Fuzz spend the day handing out the money to strangers they meet along the way, all while being tailed by a cop and a real thief. The world around him is hurried and driven by self-interest, yet Ziggy, ever the lovable, quote-unquote, little guy, remains merry in his literal and figurative silence. Before long, even the people chasing him can't help but be pulled into his holiday spirit. And Alonzo, as you noted when we were talking about these shorts, it won a Primetime Emmy Award in 1983 for Outstanding Animated Program. And I think it's well-deserved. It's so cozy and sweet. And I use the word tender because I just think it describes it so well. But it's also really hilarious. I think my favorite scenes is when Ziggy's applying for the job, the fake Santa job, and the guy behind the desk hands him the suit. He's like, "Oh, can you stand up?" And he's like, "Oh, you're already standing." I thought that was like a funny moment. So wasn't expecting to laugh as much as I did. And the ending, and I won't give it away, but it really pulls on your heartstrings. Even though it's a little bit hokey, I really enjoyed it.
Well, Richard Williams, is a legend. If you've, obviously he probably most famous for doing the animated parts of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, but also spent many decades working on The Thief and the Cobbler, which was a piece that meant a lot to him. I suspect y'all are probably the age to have grown up with stuff like The Last Unicorn and the
Mhm.
Raggedy Ann and Andy movie. And he also did the 1971 A Christmas Carol, which is considered a classic as well. So yeah, he's already a legend. And this special, I think, adapting a comic strip that a lot of people don't have a lot of fondness for necessarily, but nonetheless, like this context and this story with it really makes you love him.
Absolutely. Yeah, I wasn't too familiar with the comic strip myself, and I don't know how I even stumbled upon this, but I saw a little snippet of it and I really wanted to see the whole thing. So, and I'm glad that I did. I don't think it gets enough play today.
Yeah.
I suppose not many folks are really glued to the comics anymore, so.
The Richard Williams Christmas Carol won an Academy Award
Oh.
for animated short.
It's so wonderfully animated. Like the lighting in it, the way it
Mm.
uses silhouettes is really pretty, but also it's so effective actually at creating quite a menacing city environment that Ziggy's living in
Yes.
that it had
Yes.
like it raised more questions for me about Ziggy's life because Ziggy looks just like I don't know what Ziggy's supposed to be exactly because he's
He's
a
a little
guy, but
guy.
he's like he's a
He's
little
the
guy, but he's
hapless
like he looks
everyman.
A little round person.
but he looks unlike everyone else in his world. So
Right,
there's almost
right.
like a little magical gnome quality to Ziggy.
Yeah.
Ziggy has a special relationship with animals, and they have more of a communication with each other than anyone else would have with their animal. He is adorable in his giant Santa coat, like dragging it through the streets of, I'm guessing, New York. I don't know where we are in this. Was anyone else absolutely terrified of the thief when the thief appeared on screen?
I might have been if I saw this as a kid, for sure.
Okay, Alonzo. All right. I was a grown adult, and it
I
gave me
love
chills.
No
the
comment.
Thief because the moment you see him for the first time, he's living in a garbage can like Oscar the
Yes.
Grouch.
Yes.
And I was like, all right, this is my kind of town. These are my kind of people. This looks like if Art Crumb made cartoons for children.
That's
like,
perfectly said. Yeah.
it's that sort of gritty, grubby, as you said, seemingly quite dangerous city that Ziggy lives in. And all of that atmospheric detail is in this special. And I think it might catch people off guard who are used to, you think animated Christmas special, and you think, well, this is for 5-year-olds, but this is for everybody. And a 5-year-old can watch it and enjoy it and not be freaked out by it. But I'm 61 years old and I have never seen this special until today. And I didn't know it existed in 1982. I didn't know much about Ziggy at all. I have somehow managed to live all of my life with Ziggy in the culture because this cartoon character has been around for at least as long as I've been alive and never knew anything about this character, never knew that he was silent, that he didn't speak, never knew much about anything other than the fact that, oh, yeah, that's a cartoon guy that's on greeting cards.
And he's a lovable loser.
Yeah.
That's
This-
sort of the shtick.
I didn't even know that. And
There-
what I've learned from this,
There's The Simpsons, I think, where Mr. Burns is reading the paper and he says something like, "Oh, Ziggy, will you never win?"
Yeah, I guess the name Ziggy too is supposed to be like Z for last. Like he always comes last, which was the thinking behind giving
Oh.
him that Z name.
That's a fun fact.
this is a wonderful, wonderful special.
Yeah.
It's again, and this one you don't have to pay for. It's on YouTube.
It's on YouTube 50 times over. There's so many
you can-
different
yeah.
uploads of this.
You
It's
can-
well preserved.
yeah, highly recommend this if you've never seen it before. It's really, truly special.
It's very, very cute.
It's absolutely worth checking out, and it ends up somewhere very sweet.
Yeah.
I don't know that he's always silent in the strip, by the way. I think
Oh, really?
I think that's a thing they opted
Well,
to do. for the
I was
special.
busy reading Peanuts and
Oh,
not
Yes.
yeah.
And to think I could have held you hostage to watch a Nutcracker Prince. We all lucked out.
I think hostage taking is what I did in this episode. If anybody watched Santa and the Three Bears.
Oh, I cannot wait.
Oh,
Don't
okay.
spoil us, Dave. I saved yours for a special spot in the lineup.
Yeah.
We'll get to Santa and the Three Bears. But first, I wanted to hop into just the rest of our shorts because I have one more compilation of shorts that I wanted to talk about. And then we'll go into Dave and Alonzo's true feature films. What I'm bringing to the table for this cartoon discussion is from a really small indie company called Walt Disney. I know I said in the beginning of this episode, like, these are, off the beaten path, but that's everyone else's picks but mine. Because I wanted to go back into a direction of, I guess, self-indulgent nostalgia. But these were movies and shorts that I watched a lot as a kid on VHS. And I had a lot of warm connection to, but I don't necessarily see them very much these days. So I thought they bared some mentioning, especially a Walt Disney Christmas, which is really just a compilation of a bunch of different Disney cartoons that are Christmas themed. So it ranges from Silly Symphonies, Santa's Workshop from 1932, to Pluto's Christmas Tree from 1952. And honestly, even when this was originally published in 1982 as a tape, those were already very old. And then when I watched it in 1994, it was even older. But as a kid, you don't care. Like, it's a cartoon. Cartoons are cartoons.
Yeah.
What I know for sure is that this is a tape that I watched ad nauseum as a little kid. That tape was worn out. It was one of those covers that was all torn and ragged. And so there are 6 cartoons on this tape. There's Once Upon a Winter Time, which is like a skating cartoon that was from 1948. Santa's Workshop from 1932, and The Night Before Christmas from 1933. Much older, Silly Symphony style, where everyone has kind of like spaghetti arms and legs and they're moving out. And Santa's a real creep in those. Like, he's a very scary man, I have to say. Always freaked me out and still does today. And so does Ziggy City. I'm sorry. I guess I'm a scaredy cat. I don't know what to say. There's also On Ice, which it has the whole cast of Disney characters like Pluto and Mickey in their much older iteration, where they're all not friends and they're all like hating on each other, which is really interesting to see. And then the more recent couple of cartoons on it are Pluto's Christmas Tree and Donald Snow Fight. I'm picking those out as the 2 I really want to talk about because to me those are the standouts. So Pluto's Christmas Tree is where Chip and Dale come home with Mickey in his newly chopped down Christmas tree, and they proceed to absolutely terrorize Pluto, who, granted, is also very aggressive towards them. So it's pretty equal in terms of harassment. This is my absolute favorite on this collection and one of my favorite Christmas cartoons, period, simply because of how beautiful the inside of the tree is. It's these gorgeous multicolored, like Technicolor inside of the tree, and you're with Chip and Dale like on the branch, and there's all these baubles, and they're discovering Christmas, and it's so funny and sweet. It's that kind of thing where like you imagine yourself being shrunk down and you're inside a tree. And I know more than a few people who love to just stick their head in a Christmas tree and then look around.
I love to lie on the floor and look up. I think
Yeah,
that's
no,
one of the
exactly,
best
right?
treatments of the tree.
And it really gives you that sensation. And I absolutely love this just for that. And then my other favorite from this is Donald Snow Fight, which literally has Donald Duck crafting artillery made of snow to rain down upon his poor nephews. This one gets me really early on and never loses me when Donald puts on his winter coat, which is this horribly ugly fur thing that makes him look like a church bell. And he literally rings like one in it. And then when he's dragging his sled, it has little icicles on the rope. And it's just all these little details that are so sweet. And I really love the attention to detail, particularly in that short. The person who posted this compilation to the Internet Archive, which is the only place you can watch it anymore, although you can watch individual cartoons in different places, most of these are actually on Disney Plus in some form or another, except for, I think, Donald Snow Fight. So the 2 ones from 1930s, not surprisingly for the era, include racist caricatures, particularly The Night Before Christmas, where a young boy's face is covered in soot and it's drawn like blackface. And it's worth noting that Santa's Workshop is maybe the earliest Hollywood Christmas cartoon, although I'm sure that's debatable. I would say watch Pluto's Christmas Tree and Donald Snow Fight. What did you all think? Did anyone else watch these cartoons with me?
I haven't seen them in a while. I think definitely Pluto's Christmas Tree was the kind of thing that, like, when December would roll around, it would be part of that episode of The Wonderful World of Disney.
Right.
You know, it would be that and Goofy skiing and, a couple of other either sort of Christmassy or wintry things. So I remember it quite vividly. And you're right. The way that the inside of the tree is portrayed from the POV of Chip and Dale is really lush.
I'm with Alonzo. This was Sunday night Wonderful World of Disney viewing for me when I was a little kid, because they would recycle all these old things for that TV show, which was on every Sunday night. In keeping with the theme of this podcast, that's a very cozy memory for me, because I, again, very old, come from the time before there were
VHS cassettes.
VHS cassettes. Before there was cable television, there was ABC, NBC, CBS, PBS, and a couple of local stations on the UHF part of your television set. Don't even ask me to explain what that was, but it was a whole different kind of thing from what anyone knows about now. And that was appointment television.
Yeah. If you missed Charlie Brown, you had to wait a whole other year to see it
Yeah.
again.
I liked Once Upon a Winter Time. I don't think you get enough love for the winter, the coziness of winter. It's just a little love letter to winter and all the fun things you can do in winter. And at the end, it's this couple who are creating hearts on the ice. That was sweet.
It's like this mirrored couple where there's the humans are like skating, and then you have two rabbits that are copying them the entire time. The girl rabbit and the woman like both get into thin ice literally when they crack off and they're going to go down a waterfall. And this is where it kind of loses me, which is that all the animals save them. So the squirrels and the birds and the horses save their lives. But in the chaos, they think it was the guys and they fall in love with them and they get all the credit for all the work that other people did.
Figures.
It works out. Everyone's in love, but
Uh,
the relationships are all based on a lie. If you really
Stolen
think about
valor.
it, so- exactly, stolen valor.
Throne of Lies.
But it is very sweet, and it's very funny too, the way that like the animals mimic the human counterparts. And then the other Disney title I wanted to quickly mention is Mickey's Christmas Carol, which is a 25-minute Disney-fied adaptation of A Christmas Carol. Scrooge McDuck plays Scrooge, duh. Mickey is Bob Cratchit. Goofy is the ghost of Jacob Marley, and a slew of other Disney characters are present. Apparently, Tiny Tim is played by Morty Mouse, one of Mickey's nephews, but I'm afraid that Disney lore is a bit too deep for me.
He's a mini Mickey.
He is a mini Mickey, and to
Yeah.
me, he was always a separate character. Like, that's Tiny Tim. And then
Right.
I was doing a little more research, and I'm like, Morty Mouse? Okay. We haven't seen Morty Mouse that often then.
No.
So the featurette premiered in 1983 and was Mickey's return to the silver screen. Prior to this film, he hadn't been in a theatrical cartoon since 1953's The Simple Things. It was also quite a turning point for Disney voices. It was one of the final times Clarence Nash voiced Donald Duck before his death in 1985. Nash was the only original voice actor in this film. It also marked the first time in animation that Scrooge McDuck was voiced by actor Alan Young. And going back to the award adulation of so many of these titles, this was nominated for the Academy Award for Best Short Film, but it lost to Sunday in New York. What I love about Mickey's Christmas Carol, aside from the nostalgia, the fact that I watched it a lot as a kid, is the sound design. Because I think it's ASMR before we had the language for it. There's coal clattering in the bucket, grapes popping off the vine, a turkey leg plunking off the cooked bird. Just to name a few, they all bring profound satisfaction. And I think it's the perfect length for a child's attention span and the blend of funny and frightening that many kids love, myself included. Just try not to think too hard about the irony of a Disney film about the corrupting influence of capitalism. And it's streaming on Disney Plus.
Or that Donald is wanting his uncle to come eat turkey with him.
Oh, yes. That small detail. Yes.
I do admire the economy of storytelling that allows them to get all of A Christmas Carol into such a short film and still cover a lot of the beats. That takes some doing. It was directed by Bernie Mattinson, who we just lost a couple years ago. He lived until February of 2023 at the age of 87. I included in my chapter of Scrooge adaptations, and I think I say the same thing, which is this is a really good baby's first Christmas Carol. This is
Yeah.
a good way to sort of introduce kids to the story
Yeah.
because it's quick, it's got characters they recognize, and they get the gist of it. And then later you move them to like, Mr. Magoo before they get kicked up to, Alistair Sim and George C. Scott and Albert Finney.
This one, because I had seen Mr. Magoo's Christmas Carol, and because my first live action A Christmas Carol adaptation was the 1970 musical Scrooge, and my older brother, took me to see it in the theater. By the time Mickey's Christmas Carol came around, I was an adult, and I'd already had my fill of the Christmas Carol things that I liked. And so this one, it passed right by me.
There was no room in your heart for that.
Yeah, it passed right by me. I thought, okay, well, that's good. If you're 5, this is going to be great. But sometimes animation works for adults and sometimes it does not. And I think there are people who think that it works for everybody all the time, or it only works for children, and both of those positions are incorrect. It hits you at different ages for different reasons. I was further down the road when this one came along, and so I was not. It holds no place in my history or my heart. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I was equally as impressed with how much it packed in. And this is the first time I think I saw it. I don't recall it being in my rotation, but I'm a Christmas Carol fan. I always made my party trick when I was little was saying who was Scrooge's business partner. And they would say that to me. And I was like, Ebenezer. So that was like my little thing. That was Jacob Marley was his business partner. Clearly I was better when I was younger at my party trick. As 36, not so much.
This is
Anyway.
a terrible trick, Julian.
They just pat you on the head, say, "Go along,
Just
Jillian.
give
That's
me-
a great trick."
Everyone was silent.
Put a helmet on her.
But I did enjoy it. I thought it was scary because Matt, you mentioned being scared by the thief and Ziggy's Christmas. I was scared by that graveyard scene.
Yeah,
It's
it's
pretty
intimidating.
scary. Yeah, I enjoyed it as like everyone being cast in a play. I was like, oh, who's gonna play the love interest of Scrooge? And so it was, of course, Daffy Duck. But right, Daffy, that's the lady.
Daisy.
I'm not very big on the Disney characters.
I love the idea of Daffy Duck coming from Looney Tunes in drag, play the love interest
Not
of Scrooge.
until Roger Rabbit, alas, with those two share the screen.
Justice for Daisy Duck.
Don't have me write the next Disney short. I made one too many margaritas.
It does benefit from the rose-tinted glasses of having watched it as a kid. So many of the gags really came through for me as an adult and actually seemed a little funnier even. I don't know why as a kid I had no patience for Goofy. I was just like, stop being goofy. This is get yourself together, man. But as an adult, I actually love Goofy. I find him so funny. I think he's actually really funny in this one, starting when he becomes the door knocker on Scrooge's door and then he gets his nose honked. It's just really silly, but it works.
I love a
Yeah,
nose honking.
You can't go wrong with 25 minutes. So, like, if you're literally just putting up some decorations and want something in the background that's sweet and light, you can't go wrong with Mickey's Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
All right. So, we've been waiting the entire episode to talk about this, which are Dave and Alonzo's picks because they're excellent.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Oh, I do know. So, Dave, actually, I'm going to have you start because you brought Santa and the Three Bears to
Oh,
this.
so we're not going to save the worst for last. We're going to go right into this. All right.
We're going to
cool.
go right into this. This is almost like I want to say like the white elephant of the collection.
The gift you don't want to get stuck
I
with.
need to begin with saying I'm sorry.
You don't know I
No,
love the experience of
don't.
watching this. It's an artifact. Really, it's a treasure.
It is. Alonzo was on another podcast called Breakfast All Day, and they have a regular feature on Breakfast All Day, and it's called Was It Great or Were You 8? And I need to set the scene for you here. I wasn't 8, I was 6. And it was 1970, and I was a young child in New England. That's where I was born. I was born in New Hampshire. And I lived in a little town on the coast, that little stretch of seacoast that connects Maine to Massachusetts. Rye, New Hampshire, tiny little beach town. There was no movie theater. The movie theater was in the next neighboring town, Portsmouth, which is a pretty big place. And they still have this extremely old theater there that is currently known as the Music Hall. It has been renovated. Live performances take place there now. But when it was built in the late 19th century, it was like an opera house. And then over the decades, it became a movie theater. By the time I was born, it was already a bit shabby,
A crumbling movie theater.
huge screen, big house, seats like 800 people. There's a balcony, the whole shebang. It was called the Civic back then, and that's where I would go to. And there's another age marker for me. There used to be a thing in various places where Saturdays and Sundays were children's matinee that was the afternoon thing that would happen.
The
It didn't-
kiddie matinee.
KIDDIE. It didn't matter what was playing on the screen at night. In the afternoon, it was children's films. That was a place your mom would just drop you off. You were 7 years old and you would just get dropped off at the movie theater and she would go do the grocery shopping and then she'd come pick you up when the movie was over. You could do that back then. But this was special because Not only was it a New England December and there was snow on the ground and Christmas was coming, but I was still a little too young to just be dropped off. I didn't get that privilege until second grade when I was 7 years old, an adult. And, but when I was 6, my mom would still take me and be there with me. She would be my chaperone for the day. Now, Santa and the Three Bears is a bad film by any measure. It is a bad piece of animation, and it is about 50 minutes long. So they would put it on a program always, because it would come back around every year. They would put it on a program with other shorts, other animated shorts or live action shorts, all of them Christmas themed. I think one year they showed it with a live action feature called The Magic Christmas Tree, which was also very short. If you have never seen The Magic Christmas Tree, it is demented.
Yeah,
And
it is legitimately
and you can watch it's public domain. You can watch it on YouTube. Santa and the Three Bears is also public domain. And I have not seen it since I was 6 years old until just now. And when I was 6 years old, this movie was everything to me because I too, like the two little baby bears in the cartoon, they were so excited, breathlessly excited, and irritating their mother over the fact that they wanted to see Santa Claus. They wanted Santa Claus to come. And that's all that happens. Like there's no antagonist. Like there's just two little cartoon bears who are bothering their mother who wants to hibernate and bugging her that they want to see Santa Claus. They learn about Santa Claus from a forest ranger who tells them straight up there is no Santa Claus and that it's a legend. This movie gives up the gag about Santa Claus about 15 minutes in by telling every tiny child watching it that there's actually no Santa Claus. And at the end of the movie, you see, oh, there is a real Santa Claus and he came and you didn't have to beg and plead and be weird about it. The animation, here's what it's got going for it. It's got that late 1960s graphic quality that I still have an affection for, like weird colors and strange touches. Like there's a moment where there's a song playing and the forest ranger's asleep by the fire and he looks into the fire and the fire flames are singing to him. And that's actually still delightful to this day. But it's the one stroke of imagination in this otherwise deadly boring and irritating, quite frankly, quite irritating film. I can't recommend it, but if you're curious,
at least it's short.
At least it's short and it's on YouTube. But I wanted to talk about it because it was an early formative, cozy experience for me. Because being in that big, crumbly movie theater with my mom, and it's cold outside, and it's Christmas time, and it's snowing all the time, you feel good. You're 6, you feel protected, and you feel safe, and you're with your mom at a movie theater. And movie theaters are so great, and you're just learning what they are, and you're imprinting on this experience and falling in love with cinema because of Santa and the Three Bears.
You could do worse, I think.
The Magic Christmas Tree is worse.
Yeah.
But the Magic Christmas Tree is one that I would recommend to you you would watch today, just for the psychedelic craziness of it all. Santa and the Three Bears is just not very good.
So here's the thing, though, about Santa and the Three Bears is that I was actually pretty charmed by it.
Me too.
For a variety of reasons.
Well, then
But
please
we in
do
that
go on. I
cave.
want to know.
Please
I
tell me.
want to know how.
Well, okay, so there's Mama Bear's heavy lids, and she's just so exhausted and being bugged so much by this. The ranger has his heart
Moral
in
of
the
the
right
story:
place.
don't have children.
Well, here's this ranger is he's trying to convert these bears to Christianity, and the mother has
Yes.
no say in this at all. She's just trying to sleep. She's trying to get her kids to sleep. This guy's meddling.
He's calling her middle-aged.
Yeah.
I was like, is the perk ranger going to talk about men's right groups?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's dealing with a lot and she's actually being pretty patient with it. And honestly, she goes to him and she says, "You have to fix this because I need to sleep." So
Right.
she's in on the plot of him coming in being quote unquote Santa so that she
Right.
can just put this to bed, literally. And then fortunately, we get the real Santa and everyone celebrates. But the animation quality, like you said, it has that really distinct flavor of like 1960s, 1970s cartoons
Mhm.
where They also reuse a lot of animation.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
it'll be in the dream sequence where the bear's coming at you, but there's actually like a scene where they're actually running away from something where they
Mhm.
hop in that way. So they're being, economical with a lot of the frames. But there's a lot of maybe unintentionally just like funny looks of like the way that the mama bear looks asleep and her eyes are crossed and it's like, did she eat an edible? Like, why is she so out of it?
Yeah.
The way that the park ranger's legs, they're pretty short, but then they go from like really short to like extremely short
Right.
during moments where he's walking. And I don't know, Dave, if you just watch the cartoon version of it, but in
Yeah.
in the Amazon version, which I watch
Uh,
on Prime, it has the full like ocean world framework or pirates world.
Tell
And
Alonzo.
Well, that connects it to another movie. Barry Mahan directed the Pirates World segments. This is a guy who like cranked out a bunch of sexploitation titles, like Fanny Hill meets Dr. Erotico.
oh God.
But he has made two sort of infamous children's movies. One is the Pirates World sequences of Santa and Three Bears, and then also the Pirates World sequences of a movie called Santa Meets the Ice Cream Bunny, which is this dreadful, dreadful, wretched Florida-made Christmas movie for kids, live action.
Santa and the Three Bears is Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs compared to
To Santa and the Ice Cream Bunny. Yeah, Riff Tracks did a really great take on it a few years ago, but it's so bad. And again, Barry Mahan pops up again. And then weirdly enough, Barry Mahan now pops up in the new edition where I write about a film called Blast of Silence,
Yeah.
because he was actually producing an Errol Flynn movie that the director of Blast of Silence was able to get the cameras from that film because he was willing to go down to post-revolutionary Cuba and bring them back to the United States, and heaven knows how he did that. But yeah, the Pirates World stuff, was that last gasp before Disney killed all the other Florida amusement parks.
Have you seen Jack and the Beanstalk as well?
Yes.
Depending on which version of Santa and the Ice Cream Bunny you watch, you either get a Santa and the Beanstalk sequence in the middle of it, or you get a Thumbelina sequence in the middle of it.
And Santa and the Three Bears was released in two different formats. It was released with the SeaWorld beginning, and it was also released with a live action grandpa telling live action kids a story.
That's what I saw. I saw
Yeah.
that version.
The one they have on Amazon Prime is actually all of that. It's like a Russian nesting doll of narrative
Oh,
because
wow.
yeah,
Wow.
you have the ocean world segment which we start with, and it's actually chilling because there's this detached and brutal way that the ocean park staff describe how they break the spirit of dolphins in this Christmas film for children. They literally say like, the least lively ones that are easy to manipulate stay behind, and the rest we release because they're too unmanageable.
Yeah.
It's pretty rough.
For Christmas.
The grandpa in the bucket hat goes off to then tell the kids the story of Santa and the Three Bears. And then in Santa and the Three Bears, you get the story of Santa, which is another cartoon inside of Santa and the Three
Yeah.
Bears. So
Yeah.
it's a whole
It's
universe.
the Inception dream sequence.
It really is.
But even how layered it was, the actual film was so contained. I don't recall any other animals, just this park ranger, the
Yeah.
mama bear, and the two
There's just
cubs.
three bears.
Just three bears. So that was kind of cozy in of itself. And I think
They've got a whole park to themselves.
yes. And the promise of sleep, because that was the worst thing that could happen. Okay, Santa's not coming, but at least we get to sleep. So I think that's cozy. Something to look forward to. Months of sleep.
And really, once Christmas is over, all you want to do is sleep anyway. So that's
Yeah.
really how winter works.
And as a professional film critic, I would like to redeem myself for my choice right now by recommending a truly superior film about a bear. It is called The Bear, and it was released in 1988. It's from French filmmaker Jean-Jacques Annaud, and it is an almost wordless story of a young bear cub who is lost in the woods and is taken under his wing by a bigger adult bear. And they are simultaneously now being hunted by some hunters. And that cozy hibernation moment is how it ends. And it is a beautiful film. It won a couple César Awards. That's the French Academy Awards. And it is a gorgeous film that I highly recommend to anybody. And it stars real bears.
Well, you don't need to redeem yourself because I still feel like this is quite an artifact that if you're in for one of those like
Oh,
Going
it
back
is
to
that.
Alonzo, like a
Agreed.
Riff Traxy kind of like mystery science theater kind of movie. It really
Yeah.
hits
And
that.
again, like the kiddie matinee had a lot of great sort of older movies thrown in there, but they would also program stuff like this just to fill the week.
Yeah.
But thank you for something high quality too. It's appreciated.
Yes.
Well, moving on from Dave's Bears, let's go into some Arthur Christmas with Alonzo. It's a newer animated feature.
Yes. Yeah, this is from 2011. So it came out the year after the first edition of the book did. And it was one of the earliest movies where I thought, I wish I could add this. And so like when people talk about like, what did you want to get into a second edition? My first thought was Arthur Christmas because I just missed it the first time. Yeah, this is from Aardman, the UK, but this is a CG animated film and not a stop motion 3D that they're mostly known for. Although I think it was actually released as a 3D computer generated movie when it first came out. And Arthur is the second son of the current Santa Claus. We come to understand that this is a patriarchal lineage. And the current Santa Claus, voiced by Jim Broadbent, is on the verge of retirement and is mainly sort of there in a ceremonial role. All the real heavy lifting is coming from his son, Steve, voiced by Hugh Laurie, who has really streamlined the organization. And it runs in a very, it's very Six Sigma. They've really got their business practices down, and the sleigh's been replaced by this enormous spaceship that can cloak itself so it'll be hanging over a giant city, but no one can tell because they've disguised themselves. But Arthur, voiced by James McAvoy, is the real heart and soul of the family, the one who really genuinely loves Christmas, is excited about, the kids and how much the kids love Santa and about getting them their presents. So in this year in which Steve is poised to take over, one gift has not been delivered, and Santa has announced that maybe he's not going to retire because things are going so well. Why shouldn't he? And Steve is mad about this, and because he's pouting, he won't make the effort to deliver this one last present. And because, it falls within his acceptable margin of error. But Arthur won't have it. Arthur insists that this final bicycle must be delivered to this child who believes in Santa Claus and who deserves to have her present. So he sneaks off with his grandfather, Grand Santa, in the old sleigh with one of the old reindeer to try and get that gift delivered. Chaos ensues, but everyone in the organization maybe learns a little something about the true meaning of Christmas and the true meaning of why we give and why we love to give.
Somehow this slipped past my radar and I absolutely loved it. I thought it was hilarious, that first scene where they're all sitting to Christmas dinner and just how Arthur wants them to play that Christmas themed board game.
Yes.
And then Santa just has a big sigh like, all the Santas were losers. So I thought that was a funny twist. Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Beam me up, S1, because I absolutely love this movie. It
Good.
feels weird to say like a 3D animated film from 2011 was overlooked. It looks so polished, but somehow it was.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. It came out in about a 2-week period where The Muppets and Hugo and Tantan all opened. And so I think it really got lost in the shuffle. And on top of it, the title is a joke that doesn't work in America because the British say Father Christmas more likely than they say Santa Claus, and they pronounce the name Arthur as Arthur. So Arthur Christmas is a bit of wordplay that does not mean a dang thing in the US.
Right over my head.
Yeah, thanks
so,
for explaining it because I wouldn't have gotten
Yes,
that.
no, I did not get that.
I think most audiences had no idea this movie existed until it started popping up in the ABC Family, then Freeform 25 Days of Christmas. And that's where it finally started building a cult audience among kids. But yeah, for the longest time, I felt, did I make this movie up? No one knows what I'm talking about.
This is an all-time classic. I really feel that. Like, this
it
is
is.
something I want to watch every year because it's so well done. It's a great movie.
Yeah, and it always makes me cry.
If you love the intelligence and craft and wit
Wit.
of the Wallace and Gromit films, the same people made this. And so it doesn't look like a Wallace and Gromit film because it's not, but it has all of the qualities that you have come to love about Aardman and the films and the projects that they make. So we just saw it because we're film critics. And so we had to go see it. And when we were finished watching it that night at the press screening in 2011, we were like, oh my God, we have to tell everybody how great this is. And we've been doing that for the past 15 years.
Well, thank you for your service.
And it's truly a beautiful, well-made, moving animated feature for all ages.
Yeah, one of the really heartwarming scenes was when Santa walks into Arthur's bedroom and sees it completely decked out for Christmas. It's so cozy and sweet, and he realizes that he's the one replying to the letters.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that was a really sweet moment. So as much as it has wit, it has so much heart as well.
And if you like a Christmas sweater or a jumper, as the Brits like to call it, Arthur's is top shelf. Like
It
I
really
think
is.
one of the great. If I could have an actual human 3D version of that sweater, I would be very delighted.
Alonso wants somebody to knit him that sweater.
Aardman is missing a
Call
merch
to action.
opportunity, is what I'm hearing.
Right, I agreed.
Double X.
They could learn a thing or two from Disney.
Yeah, no kidding. And Bill Nye, by the way, is the voice of Grand Santa, and he's a real Bill Nye character.
Yeah, a little context about even just getting to this point and recording this episode while we're here together is my in-laws been visiting, and every night I'm like, we have to watch some animated Christmas movies, so I'm ready to record this episode. So they've been so patient as I've been showing them like all sorts of stuff,
Oh,
like
no.
Santa and the Three Bears.
Oh, my.
I will say that like when my
Did I
father-in-law
already
and I
say
were
I'm
watching,
sorry? I'm sorry.
don't apologize. It was, I mean, what a trip. When we were watching Arthur Christmas, we were laughing so hard and just so locked in. And I wasn't expecting that. This is an amazing pick, Alonso and Dave. Highly recommend.
Yay. I'm glad you all liked it.
Thank you.
Well, on that note of triumph, let's descend from Mount Crumpet for our Christmas candle review. And I know, Dave and Alonso, you always go high end for your holiday candles. And if you want to go back to our previous episodes, you can learn about what Dave and Alonso like to sniff during the holidays. I went low rent this year because I'm on a budget. So I'm checking out Trader Joe's candle, Crackling Red Fruits in the Forest scented candle. Just trying to think about crackling red fruits in the forest kind of makes my head hurt a little bit. Like,
Right.
what does that mean?
Yeah.
But you can't argue with the price. It's $10. And this is the way they describe it. With the strike of a match, this candle fills your space with lush and layered notes of fresh pomegranate, juicy plum, ripe raspberry, and calming cedar. In other words, with the fruity, woodsy scent of red fruits in the forest. And I guess they're on fire because they're crackling. I don't know. It's a wood wick candle, so it has that
Oh,
kind of
nice.
Oh,
I love
crackle
those.
going on.
Talk about ASMR. Those wood wicks totally.
Well, in this case, at least early on in lighting it, I almost took it away from my microphone because it was such a loud wick that it was literally screaming, kind of like a high-pitched scream. It was so loud. But that finally went away. And while the scent is a nice blend of fruity and woody, it almost smells like a little bit like that like red currant candle
Oh,
kind of
Votivo?
vibe. Yeah. But the thing is that the wood wick is giving off so much black smoke in the process
yeah.
of burning it that it's
Yeah.
making me feel a little uncomfortable. So I think just by the virtue of all of that soot, I'm going to have to give this candle a lump of coal.
Yeah.
But I am glad that Trader Joe's is trying to do something a little bit more advanced with their candles because they really leaned into the small little tins that you can pick up for a couple bucks. And those are often better than you'd think. And with these seasonal candles, they really try to give you like a gift quality candle that like you would feel a little less embarrassed to give as a gift. It's a large candle. It's in a nice pleasing glass jar. And so I like what they're doing. I like the direction they're moving in. I think this is the second year in a row they've offered this limited scent. So you can test it out. Maybe I got a particularly, I don't know, burny wood wick that like really gives off a lot of smoke.
A lot of
but-
air pockets in there.
Exactly. But whatever, it's natural soy wax. Maybe I'm not getting so many horrible particles in my lungs. Well, it's time for us to be walking in the air with a snowman, but let's spread some cheer with some holiday shout outs before we go. And we want to definitely shout out Connie for supporting our Patreon. Thank you to Connie for giving us the gift of your listenership and for helping us spread the cheer to other All Things Cozy listeners and those who have yet to find the magic of All Things Cozy. It sounds so weird to say. But especially thank you to you, Alonso and Dave, for joining us year after year to be here, to be our guides through Christmas cinema. And we can't wait to have you back and see you again. As always, it's so wonderful to see you. And definitely check out Alonso's revised, the new edition of Have Yourself a Movie Little Christmas. Alonso's made a list, and I'm checking it twice for all the best Christmas movies. So thank you both again. It's always lovely to see you and have you here for this episode.
We love you guys.
Thank you.
Happy Huga holidays.
Yes.
And a happy Huga holiday to you too. Well, that's a wrap on our festive tunes. May your holidays be drawn with joy and colored in cozy cheer. And of course, stay cozy.
Ho, ho, ho!